I link this end of Matthew over to John 14. If you skip over to John 14, verse 12, I'll begin now to transition us a little bit into what I feel the next generation of the church is really grabbing onto, and why the students in your church, as you know, have set up these stations, or they're working very hard to connect anti-trafficking scenarios to the church, and so that you are aware of what's going on. And again, like I said earlier, I applaud you in what you're doing, but I will remind us the hairy Jesus that says, the harvest is still plentiful, the workers are few. In John 14, verse 12, Jesus says this very interesting thing. He says, I tell you the truth, anyone who has faith in me will do what I have been doing. That's the first half. This first half statement of verse 12 is very interesting to me, because if you want to know what I think it is to be a Christian, I don't think it's that difficult. I think it's easy to understand. Now, to act out may be a little bit more difficult, but here's the deal. Jesus says, for those who have faith in me, just do what I've been doing. That's it. Now, that manifests itself in congregation, and manifests itself in action and plan and vision and gathering together and singing, because those are all things that Jesus did. Maybe not exactly like this, but he did those things. And Jesus is telling us, and I think this is what resonates so much with the next generation of the church. If you want to know what you should be doing, just do what I did. I spent a long time in my youth looking at the red letters in the Gospels, thinking that those were just really kind of nice philosophical statements. Not things that I was actually supposed to do. I get the fact that it is nice to care for widows and for poor and for orphans. And I would kind of almost bring this into my life as that's how I should act, not that I should really do those things. Jesus is saying very, very distinctly and very, very critically to the church, if you want to be a part of this and you want to have faith in me, the way you get to me is to do the things that I do. He follows that up with the other half of verse 12, and he says this. I tell you the truth, anyone who has faith in me will do what I have been doing. He or she will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. Now, Jesus just said to the people that were listening to him that whoever was going to come after him was going to be able to do greater things than Jesus was. And much like I look at the practical implications of Jesus saying the harvest is plentiful, the workers are few. Literally, yes, it is a big harvest and the workers are few, so let's get busy. Let's get doing something. Here we go. I also look at this verse. Because when you read it at first, you think, how could I do greater things than Jesus is doing? Does that mean I can heal from further away than he can? Or I can perform more miraculous miracles than he did? No. There's a very practical understanding of this verse. Case in point, when Jesus was doing these things back when he was around, he was just one person. He was talking to 12. Now, I don't know a lot about math, but I do know that if you multiply anything by 1, it's going to be way less than multiplying it by 12. What Jesus is saying is, I will be leaving here. I am trying to instill this understanding, these values, and this practical working in God's heart and in alignment with God and his will, so that you 12 can go out and produce more, and they can produce more, and they can produce more. People that will be doing what I am doing. Therefore, mathematically, yes, they will have been able to accomplish more than Jesus did. I mean, even if I add up all the different things that Jesus did in the Bible that we have recorded, how many times did he heal somebody? How many times did he show compassion? How many times did he feed 5,000 people when there wasn't any food? I mean, I get to a couple hundred things that he did that we have recorded, and John even tells us that there's a lot more that couldn't be recorded, but at the end of the day, how many things can you do? As if you're just one person. I mean, I'm guessing that this year alone, this church has already done things more than Jesus would have done in a year. You're doing greater things. Now, the other side of that coin is not just practically the amount of things that you're doing, but the fact that he would then send his helper, the Spirit of God, to come in and guide you and push you. And because of the role of the Holy Spirit in your life, and because of the organization of the early church getting to us where we are now in 2014, we are doing greater things. But as we just sung earlier today, greater things are yet to be done. Why? Because crazy Jesus is saying, the harvest is plentiful. The workers are few. We need you to move. We need you to move.